Okay, so this is the Pantheon dashboard. So from there, I'll go to my sites. Then this is my site. I said Pantheon allows us to create at most 2 sandbox for free. So this is my first site. So the other one we created the other day. So from there, I open the site admin and login. My login details are already saved, so I will log in. So this is a similar login page you have to when you try to access it on your phone, on your offline. I mean, when you try
System.
to access it offline on your system through XAMPP. So assuming you wanted to access it
Okay.
on your system through XAMPP, after starting the Apache and the MySQL, you just go to your browser. And press localhost slash the name of the folder you saved with WordPress. And you know there was a folder where you moved your WordPress, htdocs or something.
Yes.
Yes,
HTML.
this folder.
Okay.
Did you come into this folder when you were trying to install WordPress?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so the name of that folder, this is where I installed my own WordPress. So my own is still named
Okay.
WordPress. So I'll just come here and press
Okay.
localhost slash WordPress. So it will open up that login panel for me,
Okay.
but it's still loading. So this is open already, and we can check the site we are working on, the theme we installed the other day. So this is the theme. So the other day we tried to work on the logo. The logo, we changed the logo, and we also tried to do some little work on the footer. But today we'll be editing strictly with Elementor. So there are various ways to edit to open up Elementor for your page. So there is this edit with Elementor tab here. You can edit from this place. This is one way, and another way is going to your dashboard and opening your pages. Opening your pages, so it will show you pages that you can open, that you can edit with Elementor. So like these ones, like these ones, like these ones. So they are the ones you can edit with Elementor. But these and this, you can only edit through the default WordPress editor or the customizer. Or you can edit everything with customizer, but you cannot edit this with Elementor. You can only use default WordPress edit. So if you try to edit this using the default WordPress editor, it will give us this interface. So you can edit your, since it's not an Elementor page, you can edit it entirely through this WordPress editor. So you can make changes. Any changes you make here will reflect on your page, But in this tutorial, we are strictly working with Elementor. So I'll go back to my dashboard. And this is defined that this is an Elementor page. So I want to edit my own. So I'll click on edit with Elementor. So these are Elementor. Now just like I said the other day, the sections I can edit with Elementor are the sections other than the header and the footer. So if I try to click anything here, I won't be able to make make any edits to the footer or the header, but I can edit any of this. I can edit any of this, the images, the text that are within the body of the page, so I can customize it to my own taste. I can create new sections. I can add new sections to my own taste. But first, we'll be editing before we try to create our own section. If we need to, we'll try to edit the existing ones, try to change the images so that we can understand how to bring in images, how to arrange our text, and all, to have any custom layout that we need to have for our page. But this is the home page. This is the home page of our website. Okay. Yeah. So I explained this section. Now in the layout in Elementor, we have first the main section. The main section then have some inner section. So, but the inner section are layout in columns. That is, you can have one to many columns within one section, depending on what you want to create. Just like this section here. This section is having. Now, I told you that the other section we had. I told you that when you see something, this icon that is signifying that the region within this dotted border, this dotted border is a column. This is one column, this is another column, this is another column. So this section is having 4 columns in all. This section is having 4 columns in all. And the beauty is also that the beauty is that you can copy the design you do for one column, you can copy it and make another column with it, and you can even duplicate a column. So this column, only one was designed as it were, so they just duplicated the rest and just changed the image and the text. So I can still duplicate this section and go on ahead and duplicate. So as many column I want, I can duplicate
as you want.
Yeah, so I can just edit this and say, let me say this is like a design advertisement, film, photography. I can just say videography or something. So and I can also even change the image. I can change the image. The image here is the background of the column. So I can come here to styles and change my column background. Let me pick another image. Let me go with this. And insert. So I think, okay, this one is used already. So let me pick another image. I think okay, let me just pick this. Okay, so you can also duplicate an entire section too. You can duplicate an entire section. I can choose to duplicate this too. So I have 2 of that section. Now, but I will close it. So you can duplicate section. You can duplicate pretty anything. You can also copy and paste. Perhaps you want to have, let's say for example, you want to have this similar section in another page. Maybe you want to have it also in your About Us page. Do you get it? So I can still copy this entire section, this whole section. Now get it. Okay. A section is defined by this blue border, while a column is defined by this this dotted border.
Okay.
Yeah, we also have what we call inner section. This is an inner section. This one with this blue line. Inner section with a column in it. So that's why it's having this, both this icon. Okay, it's a column but with an inner section in it. So this is where we can drag and drop in an inner section. So within this section now, let's say I want to have another inner section within this section. So I can just go here and drag in and drop. So I have another inner section with 2 columns. I have another inner section with 2 columns. So it's depending on what you want to do. You are the one who understand the layout of the layout of the design you want to create on your page. The layout of design you want to create on your page. So what we'll be doing basically is just to change some text, change some layout, and change colors and all, so that we can know how to navigate our way through Elementor. So here I'll just change this text to first log. So I just change this here. Now I can choose. I want to also increase the line spacing. The line spacing between these texts, like they are kind of overlapping also. So I can go here and increase the spacing a little bit. So okay. Sorry, this is it. The other one there is for the entire section. Sorry, I'm coming. I'm trying to understand the arrangement.
Okay.
So that's another thing. You also, since you are not the one who created the theme, you get what I'm saying. So you also need to understand. I was not the one who created this theme, so I need to understand their layout and how they brought everything together, so that I can know how to also make my edit. So if I want to try to explain this layout now, I think it is made of 2 columns, right? One is here and this is the other column here. So within this column we have this first section here for heading, is an heading section. This is another section, but this is an image box. You can see it here. If I hover it, brings out edit image box. Is an image box. You can also see it in the navigator here. So if I click it, it's an image box. Image box is just like having an image at the top, then having your header, then your text. So it's a basic image box. So here I can but because there was no image, but this is the basic content that makes up the image box. Number 1 is the image, then number 2 is the title, then the description and the link. Maybe if you're adding a button, or if you're adding a link to the image, so that when people click on the image, they can go to a certain link. So that's an image box. But so that we can understand what an image box is, I'll just try to create a section above here, just a simple 2 column section. Then I'll bring in I'll try to bring in an image box here. If I search image box, okay, I'll drag and drop here. Let me move this over. So this is the basic layout of an image box. An image, the heading, and the description. So I can choose an image here, write my heading, and that's all. Write my heading, then my description. That's the basic image box. So it will help us understand what is here. This is an image box but without an image. That's just it. It's an image box without an image. So with an heading and the description, with an heading and the description. So that was how the person that designed the thing did it. But there are various ways you can achieve something like this. If I was the one who would be designing this thing, I'll just bring in my heading separately, then my description under. You can bring in an heading like this. So let me try to hide this image box. So you can also hide your sections too through this navigator. So let me try to hide this and bring in my heading here. So I brought in the text that time. So I can bring in my heading, then my text. I will still be able to achieve the same thing this person did with an image box. But I don't really know why the person used an image box. I would have easily just bring in my header and my. So I'll still write the same thing. The best. So this is just showing to us that if you are not satisfied with the layout the person that designed the thing used, you can change it to your own taste and something you can easily work with. So that's just what that is telling us. Best blog you can find. Best blog you can find. So that's that. So I don't have any text to add here, so I'll just leave that, and I can choose to just remove this one. So I'll click on it, make sure it is selected here, then press delete, Another way you can undo what you have done with control. It's just like you are working with a basic application. You understand what I mean? So it's just like you are working basically with an application. So you can Ctrl Z. Maybe you mistakenly deleted something, or you mistakenly wrote something. So you can just Ctrl Z. Ctrl Z is for undo. So you can Ctrl Z and undo a change you have made. And also I also want to say, every changes that you make in Elementor, it won't affect. If you just make a change, these changes I'm making now are not live on my website yet. So if I try to check my website now, this is it here. If I try to reload it, I can't see the changes I'm making there yet, because any changes I make, I must do where to update through this update button down here. And I can also save my changes as drafts. Maybe I've not finished making my changes. Maybe two of us are working on a particular website, but I made the changes on my end, but I want the other person to also see it before making it live. You get the gist. So I will first save it as a draft so that the person can see it, then make some corrections and all before making it live. But after I've made all my changes and I'm sure about what I've done, then I can just go ahead and click on update. So let me just try to, since nobody is seeing, since this is just a practice website, I can just try to update. Then we'll see every changes that we have made on our website here. So this is it. This is the image box I added. So any user visiting my website will definitely see this. And the reason why we are seeing this image box here is because I didn't delete it. You understand it? I just hide it. So that's why I'm seeing the image, the one I hide in Elementor. That's why I'm seeing it here, because I didn't delete it. So if I just go ahead and delete it, this is it here. Let me show it again. So this here, I can also delete this here. I'll just delete it. I'll delete it and update. Wow. And go back there and refresh. So I won't see it again because I've deleted it. So just take note of that. It's a mistake I have made too previous, and it's a mistake you can easily make when you are working with Elementor. So you can hide something, not knowing, because you are not seeing it on this interface. You get it? So you may think it is no longer there, but you have, and you may have forgotten that you have hidden it. So I hide some section here. So thinking I had deleted them, so I just updated the website. So the person just called me and said, I'm seeing some things here. What are these things? So I just discovered there are sections I hid, but I didn't delete. They are now on the live website. So always make sure that you are not hiding any section before you update your changes. Please always make sure that you are not hiding any section before you update to your live website. So I'll go ahead and increase. So but let me explain these tabs to us. I think I tried to explain it the other day. The content is where you write everything you want. It's just to edit your content. Perhaps it is a text, an image. This is the content tab, is to add your content. It can be an image, it can be a text, it can be an icon. That's for the icon section and all. The icon element, I mean. And this styling is to add styles to your section, depending on what kind of section you are working on. If it is an image, what you find here is how to style your image. If it is a text layout, what you find here is how to edit your text. If it is a button, what you find here is how to edit your button. So if I go, this is a button section. So the first thing I will find in the content section is the content of my button. This is the text of my button, and this is the link. The link here is, and this button, if I click, it won't go anywhere. It's just hash. There's nothing in the link here. So everything I will find there are everything that will make up the content of my section, which is the button. So I can make the text in the button. I can make the button left aligned to the O column, or to be aligned to the center, to the right, or just justify, that is to fill the O width, but I will still leave it at left. I can also increase the size of the button. It can be extra small, it can be small, it can be medium. So I don't know why it's not changing. But it should change. I don't know why it's not changing. But this icon aspect here is to add an icon to your button. Maybe I want to add an icon beside my button here. I can either set it as none. For this button now, there is no icon here because it's set as none. I can upload an icon as SVG. An icon format for Elementor is usually SVG, but I think you can also upload PNG icons too. Or I can check the default Elementor icon library. So you can find many icons here. Depending on the one you want to use. So I'll try to add let me try to look for an icon that looks like a page or something. let me try to add this icon so I can insert it here. So we'll see that icon here. So that's one way you can add icon to your button in Elementor. So I'll hide it. So I can also let me bring back the icon. Let me just select another. Most of our time. So this is the icon here. So I can also increase the spacing to the text. Increase the spacing of the icon to the text. Increase the of the icon to the text. So that's that about the content. Then the styling. Let's say I want to style this button. If I go to the styling, yeah, this is for the typography. This is to edit, to add styles to your text, to add color to my text. Now this icon, this globe icon is telling me and when we were trying to import our site, I don't know how many of us can remember, we set some global colors. There's a place you can set the global colors for your site, the global colors for your site. But I think you can also access it here in Elementor by going to site settings under global colors. So you can set the global colors for your website here. We have what we call the primary color, the secondary color, the regular color for your text. So any text I bring in, this is the default color that we have. You can also have the accent color. You can define any colors, any default color that you want. Instead of just I want to select another color, I'll go to the color wheel again to pick another kind of color. But yeah, after setting my color here, I can just pick the colors I want out of the global colors. So let me try to go back. Okay, let's say I want to edit this. I want to change the text, the color of this text here. So if I click here, it will ask me what the color I want to choose. So it is set. I can pick either the primary, the secondary, the text, the default text color, or the accent color. These are the colors we saw in the global color aspect. So, or I can just come. Oh, sorry, this is for the, sorry, I'm mixing the text color to the typography, sorry. But it is still the same explanation. You can also set your global font, your global font. These are for the font. Then this is for the color, sorry. I can change my color, my text color here, sorry. So or I can just come here and pick any colors I want from this place. Any colors I want from this place. So but I will still use the primary font. This is for the font. And I can also add a text shadow. A text shadow to it. I can increase the intensity of the shadow depending on what I want to achieve. Increase the blur or reduce the blur. So we'll see the changes here in the button. So that's that about the text for the button. And you can also set your button background color. The background color, but this is for the background type. That is what kind of color do I want for my button background. is it the classic color or the gradient color? So I can also have gradients for my colors, that is the movement from one color to another. So here I can pick the color I want for my button. I can pick the color I want for my button depending on what I want to achieve, depending on what I want to achieve. But this is the text color. This area are for your to set your text color and your background color, and you can also set the overstate too, that is the color of your text and the color of your background when you over that button. So I can set what will happen when I over this button here. So I can set the color. So I want the color to be this when I over the button. So it will change to that. I can change the color to something red. So you can set the over. So I can also set the text color when I over the button too. If I want the text to be black also, when I over it, I can just change this to red. So you can see it. So that's how to set the overstate. But I'll just only change the background and leave the text to white. So, and I will remove the shadow. I'll remove or just set it back to default with no shadow. So that's how to edit a basic button show. This is to edit the basic button. But this aspect of the okay, this is where to give your button radius. This is for the top border. That is the radius of the top border, the right, the bottom, and the left. Bottom and the left. So I can increase the radius. Let's say I want to give it a radius of 10, or depending on what you want to achieve. So I can add radius to border to make the right and left border totally round. So the more the number, the more rounded the border. So please, are you following me? So, and you can also add a shadow to the entire button. You know, the other shadow we added was for the text, but this box shadow, now I don't know if anybody has understanding of CSS. So if I want to add shadow to any element in CSS, I will need to write out the box shadow key and add a value I want to it. So, but this is the box shadow for the button. For the button, the same concept for the text. For the text shadow, I can increase the blur, and I can also increase the intensity. The intensity of the shadow. The intensity of the shadow. But I don't think we need a shadow for this button. So I'll go back to default. I'll go back to default, or just press Ctrl Z. Now padding is the space between the border and the content of that element. That is padding. That is the space between the border and the contents. While margin is the space between the border and the outer space and the space around the element. So there is a margin between these all this whole area. This is the area of the section I'm working on, and this is the button. Now the space between this blue line and this is the margin given to this button. Why this the space between this border here, the border of this button, and this content, this read article here, is the padding. So I can choose to adjust my padding too. So they are linked. That's why they are all changing. Both the top padding, this is the top padding. The space between this, the upper part of this text here is the top padding. This is the bottom padding. This is the right padding, and this is the left padding. So, but it is because it is linked here, so I can unlink everything and change them individually. But the ideal thing is just to link everything together so that you can have equal padding around your content. So I can choose to, I'm just showing us that you can unlink it and give everything different padding. It's depending on what you want to achieve with it. So, but the ideal thing is just to link everything together. So let me increase the padding to around, let me give it 50. So the reason why everything is changing at the same time is because they are all linked. Yeah, the same thing for the radius. It's because they are linked here. So and I can unlink them. So people that basically use any editing application or design application should be accustomed to most of these things here in Elementor. So they are based on pretty similar concepts. So, but the ideal thing is that if you work yourself around it, you will get to discover so many things, because Elementor keeps adding some new feature every time. So you may not have the whole scope of what everything is all about, except you keep using it and keep discovering some new things. So, but the basic, each section have these three basic tabs. Number one is the content, then the style, then the advanced. The advanced is for maybe you want to add some advanced effects to your section. You want to add some advanced effect to your section, or the first one here under advanced is your layout. So you want to add your own margin. So this person only added the margin at the top. That is why there is more space at the top here than the space beneath it. And it is because it was not linked. It didn't link it together. It just added the top margin, the margin top. So if, let's say I want to add a margin to the left, to this left area here, I can also add a 20 pixels margin. So these are the dimension of your margin depending on the one you want to use. I can't really go in depth about the different dimension, but you can just search them out. You easily find them out. That is the difference between pixel, em, rem, and percentage. But the ideal one, the common and the basic one, is the pixels. So you can add margin to your elements depending on your taste. Then you can also add your padding here too. That is, this padding here, the padding we saw here is for the button. Please understand that the padding we are seeing here is for this entire section. So if I try to add a padding here, so it's talking about the padding of this entire section. It's talking about the padding of this entire section. So that's the difference between the padding here and the padding here. The padding here is for the button, while the one here is for the whole entire. This section here is an inner section. Is an inner section with a button in it. So that's it. So what else can you do here? All these ones are advanced CSS CSS stamps. So you may not need to do a lot of work here if you are not really used to CSS. Elementor has done a lot of work for us, in that we don't need to write any code. We just need to set our values. So now if I want to style any HTML document, I will need to target that HTML element in CSS with an ID or a class name, with either an ID or a class name. So that's why I'm saying all these are advanced CSS stamps. And the Z index has to do with the layering of my elements. So if I want it's just like bringing something forward and backward. An element with a Z index of 1 will always be on top another element. It's just the layer concept of CSS. That's what Z index means. The positioning means in relation to the surrounding element, or it should have an absolute positioning that is not in relation with other elements. So we have a relative positioning and we have the absolute positioning. We have other positioning too. We have the fixed and all. So this is where we can set, but I think the default in Elementor is the relative, that is in relation to the surrounding. So it sets the padding, the margin, and the size, or the width and the height of that element in relation to the surrounding element. So the advanced CSS stuff. So I may not, if I'm explaining it, you may not really get it. So but here is to add a motion effect to your element. Let's say this is the entrance animation. Maybe I just want my button to fade in. So after loading it, we just fade in. I can add that, and I can add the duration to it. I can make it slow or make it very fast. So after my website has finished loading, then this will fade in. I can also delete. Under motion, and I can also set the animation delay, so that is after 600 seconds, after 600 milliseconds, is in milliseconds, sorry, after 600 milliseconds, then this my button should fade in. So depending on the amount of delay you want to set to it. So after 2500 milliseconds, that's about 2.5 seconds, then let this fade in, and I can make it slow or normal or fast. Yeah. So that's, and we have so many transitions that we can add here. We have the zoom in, and zoom out. So it is zoom in. Then we have the zoom in up. So we can add different effects. So Elementor is very versatile and gives us so many possibilities. I can make it bouncing up, so allow it bouncing this way. So depending on the kind of effect I want to achieve, there are so many defined effects here. So you can just try any of them out. I can also add shake. So after loading, so it will shake. So depending on what you want to achieve. So but this is the aspect is under advanced. So I can pretty add this motion effect to any section. So if I click these two and go under advanced, under the motion, I can also add this effect to anything. I can add it to image, to any element, or to any section here in Elementor. So this transform is to transform your element. So I can flip it. Okay, let's still be working with the button. So I just want to run through this advanced section. So this is, I can flip horizontally or flip vertically. I can also skew horizontally. Sorry, we enter the transform. Okay, I can skew, that is for you to skew horizontally, slightly horizontally, depending on what I want to achieve. So you must also know how to use all these things in balanced proportion, so that you won't make so that you won't overwhelm your website. So you should also know the right amount of styling you should add to your website, so that you won't overwhelm the whole of your website with different animation or styling and all. But you can achieve different kinds of animation or different kind of effect on your website with Elementor. So this is the vertical skew. This is the vertical skew. So, but I will return it back to normal. And this is scaling. Scaling is also to increase the size, about the size of my element. But I will return it. I can also set the offset. Offset is like offsetting it from the current position. That's the literal meaning of offset. So how many offsets do I want to set to this particular element from the current position? At 0, it will be at the current position. So I can set offset to the left and to the right. So depending on how I want to achieve that. But I can also set vertical offset. I'll return that. I can also rotate it, and I can also set my 3D rotate. The 3D rotate is also similar to, or let's say for example, maybe I brought in a 3D image also. So I can also set the perspective with this 3D rotate. So this is for the perspective. So building a basic website, I don't think you actually need many of these advanced effects. So background, although we can set our background the background here is the background of our button. But this inner section, we can also set the background of that inner section here. So I can say what kind of background is it, the classic basic color or the gradient. So if I set so I can also add an image as the background of this section. So I want to use this background. So I can of this entire section, section. But the reason why there is a space above it and to the left is because we have added a margin to it, to the layout. So if I remove the margin we added, so 0, so it will fill this entire section. So this is just to tell us that this button here is within this inner section, this section here. So you can also set the background that way, but I will just remove I'll remove the background. And also remove the padding. I think we added the padding. I remove padding, and I also remove the margin too. I remove the margin too, so that we just only have our button. Only have our button. So we can also set the border, the section border, this inner section. We can also set the kind of border we want for it. It can be a solid border, it can be a double border, it can be a dashed border, and it can be a groove border. So we have different border style. And we can also set the width, but as in this top, the top border, the right border, the bottom border, and the left border, you can set different width for them. But the ideal one is to link up the values of the width. So I will set equal values for everything. So maybe I can just give it 5 pixels. So 5 pixels for the width, or just set the width to 1. Just 1. Oh, let me remove the border, total border, and set it 20. So that's just to tell us that we can add width. And this whole section too can have a shadow. You can have shadow for the whole section. So that's that about the border. And we can also set a masking, that is to mask over it. It's just like saying you are covering something. That's the mask. But I don't really think we need all these advanced to build a basic website. And this is for the responsiveness. That is, there are basic, there are 3 basic device layouts that can be set in Elementor. Number 1, we have for the desktop, we have for the tablet, and we have for the mobile. So that means I may want to hide this button when it's appearing on the tablet or on the mobile, or when it appears on the desktop. So you can set element that you want to show on the desktop, or you can set the one you want to show on the tablet, or you can set the one you want to show on the mobile. So that means I'm hiding this on the desktop. That is, if let's say I click on this update, I won't see this button on the live website. Let me just try to update it and go back to, so it's here initially, but I've not refreshed. So if I refresh it, so I won't find that button. So I don't know if you saw this transition. That was the motion effect we added to it. So you can add it to pretty any elements on your web page. So, but I was just showing us that you can hide on different device. You can hide an element on the tablet, on the desktop, on your mobile, and you can view your tablet layout or your mobile layout here. There's this responsive mode icon here. So if you click it will bring out this top bar here. Now this blue icon is indicating the current layout that is showing. So this icon is signifying that it is showing the desktop layout. I can show the tablet layout this way. So this is how it will appear on the tablet. You can see when it is in tablet layout, the button came back to show. The button came back to show here, and this is the mobile layout. So this is how it will show on the phone. This is how it will show on this is how the website will show on the phone. For the customizer too, as in where we change the logo, I can also set the logo, as in the logo size for we are still coming to that for the phone too. but I'm just doing a general overview, a general overview, a general overview first. I just want to show us round Elementor so that we can have a basic understanding before we start doing what we actually want to do. So that when I'm trying to build what I want to actually build, we won't be lost and we won't be needing to be coming back and say, sir, please explain that also. So that's why I needed to cover everything first. So this is for the responsive aspect. Then we can set our attribute, but the attribute part is for the pro version. So when we want to start working on the project full time, I told us we are working on the blog. On the blog, I would show us a way we can get the Elementor Pro, as in the pro version, because that one will offer us so many possibilities also. So we can also add our own custom CSS. Maybe I know how to write CSS and I want to add a custom styling, but the basic settings here majorly gives you, but not all. Maybe you want to add a CSS property that is not already included in Elementor, so you can just add your own and upload your own CSS. So that's why this CSS ID and class is very important, because that is what you will target in your CSS file or your CSS document. So that's that. So you can also set your, so let me cover this for the responsive mode. So I can also set the width of my screen so that it will show how the website will appear on different screens, on different screen. So I can set the width of my screen here. The width of my screen here. So if you use Figma, so there are so many similarities. There are so many features here in Elementor that are also in Figma. They are also in Figma. So I can set my own default screen size. My own default screen size. So I'll go back to my desktop. So that's that about the basic tab for a section. Okay, I didn't remove this border. This shadow. Let me remove the shadow. Let me just remove the shadow. So that's the advanced section. The advanced section is pretty the same for every element section in Elementor. It's pretty the same, but the styling changes. The styling section and the content section changes based on the type of section you are editing or based on the type of section you are working on. So we have different elements as sections here. We have the basic ones, which is the inner section. We have the heading to add your heading. We have the image to add an image, the text to add your text. You can also add a video, a button, a divider. Maybe you want to divide one section from another. You can also add a spacer to space your sections. You can add a Google map. You can also add an icon. You can also add a form too. You can also add a form. Now these are the section and element that are available to us in the pro version. In the pro version. Well, we still have so many elements as section for the free version. So you can add an image box, the one we tried the other time for this. So you can also add an image carousel. You can also add an image carousel. A carousel is like a slider. So, but let me make it bigger. Let me delete this this column. You can also delete a column too. So making it just one column. So let me try this an image carousel. But the truth is that I can't keep going over each and every one of those elements. I can also show us. I can only show us the little ones that I can show us, so that we can know how to navigate our way through Elementor. I can't be going over all this. It will just take our time. I can't be going over all these elements and sections. All these elements and sections. But this is to add. Maybe you want to add an interface for the page of the WordPress page also. But I can't be going over everything. I can just select some few ones out of it and explain how they work to us. But the truth is that when you start working very well with Elementor, you may not actually even need everything, but you also need to know about everything, because you can't predict the kind of website you'll be working on. But there are many custom elements and sections. Custom elements in Elementor. This is for a progress bar. This is for a counter. This is for a tab. This is for an accordion also. So, but let me explain this image carousel, how it works. So this, like I said, this is for the content. This is where you add the content, the images for your carousel, for your slider. The carousel is like a slider. So I can add as many images I want here. So let me select as many images as possible. Okay, this is how many 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can add it to the gallery. Hello?
Yes, I'm following you.
Okay. So we still call it a day, because I don't want to be bombarding us with so many things, and I also want a number of us to try what we are learning, to have enough time to try what we are learning out. Because if I just keep bombarding us with everything, we may forget some things. So it's better we just do a little, go and try it out, then we'll come back and do a little. So it won't be. I think we are closing up to we are hitting an hour already. So I don't want it to be at most 1 hour. Each session will be having. So this, I've selected my image, so I'll just insert them. So these are the images. So sorry. So this is the slider. So I can so I can edit the size of the image. I can edit how, so you can see the sliding on its own. So that's how to set a slider in. So I can increase the size of the images. But let me just update it so that you see how it appear on the website. Or you can just hide this. I think I showed us this the other day. So it will have an arrow. So I just created a slider just by few clicks in Elementor. So, and if I want to check it here too. So this is the slider. So let me go back and bring in our workspace again. So you can pick the size you want here, and you can also make the image. You can also set a custom size, that is the size you want for your image too. Yeah. So I can say I want my image to be 300 pixels by 300 pixels. So I will apply. So my images will be 300 pixels by 300 pixels. So you can set your own custom size here, or you pick the default one here that are defined here. Here. So you can set the number of slides to show per how do I put it? Per view. How many images do I want to show per view? So I can set it to 1. So here it will only set 1 image per view. It will only set 1 image per view, and I can also pick 4. So here it will show 4 images per view. So when it slide, it will give me the remaining images. Or we can also make it 2. So let me just try to make the images bigger and set it to 1. Let me go back to my 300 by 300 and maybe set it to 4 images this way. Okay. Now the slides to scroll. So here is I'm asking how many slides do I want to scroll. Do I want to scroll per swipe? Here it is only showing 1 images per swipe. So if I set it to 2, 1 swipe we bring 2 images at this end. That is 1 swipe this way. When it's scroll this way, it will show 1 extra image. That was the default one. But here if you just swipe once, it will show 2 images. That is why this indicator has reduced. But initially if I just set it to 1, so it will increase. That is 1 images per 1 scroll, 2 images, 1 image per 1 scroll, 1 image per 1 scroll, 1 image per 1 scroll. So that's how it is. So I can set the number of the image to show per scroll here. Image stretch. Do I want my image to stretch, as in to fill in the, let's say I reduce this to 3. I reduce this to 3. I want my image to stretch. That is to fill up the gap. To fill up the gap within this place. So if I set to 2, so each of those images, instead of the space that was there, if I move the image stretch now, so there will be those space. It will only maintain. It will only maintain the default size that we have defined for it. It will maintain the default size that we have defined. That we are defined for it. So just to let us know that the concept here is that each section you click here determines what appears here. That is what you find here. But if nothing is selected, the default section, the default interface it gives you here is this. But you can select the section to edit either from the navigator or just clicking on the edit icon here. So I can choose to edit the column. I can choose to edit the section, the inner section. So I want my image to stretch so that to fill up that space. Now these are for the icon. This is the default icon. I can also pick, but I think the default icon is descriptive enough. Except you want to pick another type of icon, arrow icon. Another type of arrow icon. Maybe I want to change it to this. So if you change it to that. I can also set for this. So you can pick any arrow icon you want for your slider. So if I set it to this one will fill the whole space. It's because I selected image stretch. But let me just make it 3. Let me make it 3. So this is for link. If I want to add any link to it, maybe when I click on the image, I want to take me to a particular page, a particular website. So I can add a link, a link to open a particular to open a particular to open the file itself. This is a light box. There's something we call light box. It's just like an image viewer. Just like an image viewer, so that when people click on the image, they'll be able to view it. That is the whole image in that gallery. They'll be able to view it. Be able to view it. Then I can also add caption to each of my image. I can add a caption to it. I can add a caption to it. So you can see the caption here. That is, the caption is the title of that image. Of that image. So I can add description. That is the description of that image. The title is showing us. If I click on the title of that image, it is how do I put it? It is speaking the title of the name of the image itself. The name of the image itself under this So this name here is what is speaking as the title of that image. So that's where these titles are coming from. So the name of the image itself, that's what it is putting as a title. So the additional options are to edit the motion effect of the slider. The motion effect of this. Please, can we still hear me?
Yes, sir.
Eh? So let's stop here. I will save this so that perhaps tomorrow we can continue from here. And tomorrow I'll be showing us what will be the website will be modeling, and we'll try to design that with WordPress. So thank you for
All right, sir.
your time. I really do appreciate it. So